Hello and welcome to my BFBBMix no boss clip speedrun tutorial for beginners and intermediates. For setting up the game, I recommend going to the Discord for help. I will be putting the link to that in the description. I personally use Dolphin to emulate the GameCube version of the game, version 5.04. I will mention all the important version differences that I know during the tutorial. However, I've only ever played on Dolphin, so I'm not completely sure how reliable the information is. You'll just have to figure it out for yourself to some extent. There aren't many version differences though, so don't worry too much about that. The timer I use is on the left side of the screen. It's called Live Split. I'll have a link to that in the description as well. I made some split file for the route that we're going to use, and I put sock and spat counts in the split names. So between brackets you have two numbers. They represent how many spatulas first, and then how many socks you should have at the end of the split. This one also is an auto splitter, which you can turn off. For help, again, you can go to the Discord. Um, The route that I use for this tutorial is not the optimal route, but it's meant to be easy, but still fast. So I'm pretty sure that sub 40 is still possible with this route, but do not expect to actually get that. It's it's meant to be for beginners and intermediates. So if you're going for sub 40, then you can definitely consider adding more strats later. Now, even though this is meant to be the easy but still fast route, there are still a couple tricks that are kinda hard, so don't get discouraged if you have trouble with some of the tricks. It's fine if you mess them up. Especially when you just start out, you just need to finish runs. So when you just start out with speedrunning, just finish runs, get to know the speedrun, and you'll improve. And if you lose minutes to one trick, that's just fine. Just continue. You'll have more runs in the future. No need to worry about it. Now, uh, prerequisites. Basically, I already assume that you know some of the basics of movement. Uh, you can look at the Battle for Bikini Bottom any percent speedrun tutorial for some of the basics of movement. And I also assume that you already know how to cruise boost, which is a trick that we'll use in late game. So that's also something taught in the any percent tutorial for Battle for Bikini Bottom. Anyways, on to starting the route, because I'm going to explain every trick in the route. And yeah, that's basically gonna be the tutorial. So let's get started. So I use spacebar for splitting, but since it's an auto splitter, I only need to split at the start and at the end. So now I need to split when I start the game. So in the opening fight, the route that I recommend for beginners is to go to the Duplicatotron on the right first. You can then hit the target bot and the chuck, and yeah, the other robots go to this Duplicatotron. Anyway, you just need to finish the fight and continue. Now, if you're an intermediate, you can do some damage boost, so let me show that. You can add some damage boosts here. You can damage boost off of the Duplicatotron and hit the chuck faster that way. And with this Duplicatotron, you can do a sliding bash. So if you already know how to do these kinds of tricks, then as an intermediate you could be doing these to save a little bit of time. Moving on. So the route I do assumes that you do a trick called Cannon Hall early, which I'll get to later. If you don't want to do Cannon Hall early, I'll get back to this later, but if you don't want to do Cannon Hall early, you need to press the yellow button right here. So we're not doing that because we're doing Cannon Hall early, but later on I'll show how you can do that. So first things first, you can jump off the elevator when it's at the top to jump over here and get the sock. Then we move on. So now we just get some warps. When you go over here, you get this warp, bounce in the ducts. You can open the pause menu to check, but the trigger for getting the warp is right around here. So just make sure that your shadow is completely on the ground here and you'll get the warp. Then over here you get another warp. So this one is a little bit further back than right at the edge, so just go a little bit further and then you get this warp. Then we press this button to get the final warp, namely Patrick's super secret spatula, and then we warp there. And now we already do Cannon Hall early. So this trick has a bit of a nuance, which is that you only have one try to do it, which is why I put this right at the start of the route. Because if you fail this, then like there is a backup, but you can't try this again. So you're losing almost a minute if you miss this. That's why I'm gonna go over the alternative strat in a minute. But yeah, this is what you do. You jump on the back side of the trampoline and then hold forward. You get the text from Krabs as you teleport to him. You need to press B twice to get rid of his text. And then while still in the air, you can do a double jump spin to get over here and get this spatula. So let me just show it again. So jump on the back of the trampoline and still hold forward. And then you press B twice to get rid of the text and then jump spin. You can also mash B. And then you get the spin like that. Because B also gives the mash, at least on Dolphin. On all other consoles, it's a little bit more tricky. You can't really mash B because you'll slam. But yeah, then you need to jump out of the spin, which is kind of precise. So that's why I don't do this, but some people prefer it. Just mash B and then jump. The trick is not that hard, but it's certainly, you need to practice this to get it down. If you're on console, then practicing this also kind of sucks because you can't make a save state and try again. But yeah, once you get it down, it's not that bad anymore, and you just get the spatula. So by the way, the reason this trick saves so much time is because this spatula gives you a warp. So let me just speed up the emulator, and that warps puts you right in hub 3. So basically you skip to hub 3 this way. And the alternative to that, which is also what you would have to do if you mess up the trick. So what I was talking about earlier, if you're starting out, you just need to finish runs. So if you mess this up in your first run, in your very first run, definitely just do the backup, just to finish the run anyways. So the backup would be to press the yellow button, and for that you want to have the elevator go to about that high. So it's in between the first line up here and the second line up there. That's when you want to jump to get the maximum height. And then you just jump, spin, and that gets the yellow button. And with the yellow button you spawn this elevator, which allows you to go to hub 3 this way. And then what you can do instead of Cannon Hall early is you can just do it casually. So if you mess up Cannon Hall early on your first run, definitely just do this. For this you can just alternate jumping and ducking, pretty funny. Anyways, then you get the spatula anyways. So yeah, let me just show cannonball early one more time. Okay. One more time. There we go. And yeah, that's cannonball early. Next up, we go warp to Cannon Hall. Go to Hub 3. And for this one you need to be quick. So basically I already messed up because I need to be quick. You need to go to the left. And we're gonna get a spatula here at the end. And the reason I said you need to be quick is because these blocks are on the cycle. So if you want to make the fastest cycle like I just did, then you need to be quick. If you fall, or if mess up in any way, then you can still make a pretty decent cycle if you just wait a bit and then get the same cycle pretty much. But yeah, if you're having trouble with this, don't feel bad, just take a slower cycle. The safest thing you can do is just every time wait for the next block to spawn and just go slowly. If you're having trouble with this, then you can just do this. If you want, you can do some more skips at the end, make it more interesting. But yeah, I'll show the fastest cycle one more time. So for this one, remember that you need to be quick, no time to waste here, and you just need to have some good lines. I can also give some more tips for this, so movement wise at least. So for this jump you don't want to land on the back side because then that happens. You need to land on it early enough so that it doesn't despawn. So if you jump too far for this one, if you jump too far, then it despawns before you land on it. So make sure you try to land on like the front side of it. And for this one I like to do a single jump, and yeah, the rest is pretty much pretty straightforward. Anyway, then we warp to Cannon Hall again. And now we enter Kelp Forest. And this is when we split. So at this point we have 2 spatulas and 1 sock, and then we split. So now we go to the right here, get those tikis. Something I haven't mentioned yet is that you want to get shiny objects. You need to get 4,000 shiny objects in early and mid game, so before Industrial Park, the second boss fight. This is pretty lenient, so there's no need to actually worry about this, but you do need to get the stacks of shiny objects, tikis, that I show. If you miss too many of them, then you won't have enough, so certainly stay aware of this. Then right here we do Vine Climb, and for that you first jump into this corner here. This is pretty easy. So just jump into this corner, then you jump on this top of this leaf, and then on the top of this leaf. And from here you jumping gets a bit weird because there's like the next leaf is right above your head, so you can't always jump. So you kind of need to make sure that you're far enough back. Or what you can do is you can use the grounded frames after walking off to just walk off a little bit. But you need to make sure that you don't walk off too far because this jump is kind of tight. So you need to jump on this leaf. So let me show that a couple more times. I like to just walk off a little bit to make sure that I don't bump my head into the leaf. And that's basically it. Things can go wrong. So for example, you can fall into here. That's not that bad, you can just jump out. If you fall all the way down, then the easiest backup is to just go back and try again from the start. So then you can just try it again. A little bit faster backup would be to jump up the vine from here. So you can jump up here and then up here for some reason. You can't stand there, but you can jump there, as you can see. And then you can jump to the left here. Or you can actually jump to the right, and that's basically the starting point of normal vine climb. So yeah, you can just do that. To jump back up and try again. That's all I wanted to say about that. So moving on. You get into this box. It's a little bit faster to get the spatula later, so just get into this box. Get this spatula. One thing to mention is I'm not gonna talk about 6 framing spatulas, which is something you might have heard of. There's gonna be like 1 or 2 6 frames because they're really easy. And hand on demand is something I'm gonna go over, but none of that is necessary right now. So just in case you were wondering why I didn't 6 frame that one, that's just not something I'm going to go over in this tutorial. Anyway, here you have to talk to Gary, so you need to go through all of the dialogue. So just mash A until the dialogue ends. And then you need to talk to Gary again, and again go through the dialogue. And that starts the timer, or at least that initiates the timer. Then you can jump off into the goo to actually start the timer. And you can use the damage boost from the goo to go a little bit faster towards the boss, because that's where we are going next. Because now we just finished the time challenge by hitting the trigger over here. And now we finish the time challenge. Pretty easy. And then we grab the spatula. Enter the box. Talk to Gary again. And now we can actually skip this dialogue. So just press B and grab the spatula. And then we warp to the first spatula through the walls of kelp. And now for this, the easiest would be if you had pressed this button before doing kelp, the vine climb. You can just press this button, and that allows you to now just walk through here. So let me actually show that from the beginning. So that if you had pressed the button before vine climb, you could then just do this and jump off the platforms and hit this checkpoint. But now, yeah, but now that, okay. Yeah, but a little bit of a faster option, because the button initiates a cutscene, which takes a couple seconds. So this is a bit of an intermediate option. It's kind of hard, so don't feel discouraged if you're having trouble with this. And if you're a beginner, feel free to try this out for fun, but make sure you don't implement this in runs if you can't get it. So basically you can do a pixel jump up here. It's kind of like the jump from earlier where you can't stand here, but you can jump there. So we use that to get over to here, stand on this vine, and from here you can just jump to the checkpoint. Well, it's not that hard, but it's pretty tricky, so yeah. And then when you hit the checkpoint, you can warp to Shooting Star, because the checkpoint gives you the warp. Okay, now that we're at Shooting Star, we can jump on the leaf. And then over here, I like to jump on this leaf, but it's a bit of a tight jump, so if you want, you can just do this instead. And we get this stock. And now we need to jump on this wall, which we use this vine over here. I like to turn my camera for this and just jump on it like that. So let me just show it again. The hitbox is kinda it's very thin, so that's why I like to turn my camera for this. And then when you're on this, you can just jump onto the wall, and then you can walk around and jump down to the spatula. If you want to be a little bit faster, but this is really insignificant, you can just jump on this button and then go straight to the spatula. Okay, now that we have the spatula, we can warp to shooting star again. Now we go over here. Hit this guy. And then jump over here to the rock. You can also stand on this ledge, or at least pixel jump off of it, as you can see. So you don't need to jump all the way to the rock. And then we just jump on the trampoline and get the sock. And then jump over to the spatula. You can also get the sock and get to the spatula without jumping on the trampoline again. So if you're comfortable with that, then sure, go ahead. And we warp to shooting star one more time. And we go onto this leaf again. And we jump into the goo here to get this sock. And for this, you can just go on these leaves to get the spatula. But you can also, hold on, I didn't make a save state. Other options, you can also jump on here. This one's kind of tight, so if you mess up even a little bit of the angle, then you kind of miss the spatula. And obviously the jump onto the leaf itself is also kind of tight. Sometimes I miss it, so I go like this, but you can still land on this leaf if that happens. Let me try and get that. Okay, now I actually got on the leaf. There you go. So sometimes that happens. And then you can jump over here and jump to the spatula. That's also something you can deliberately do if you want. Might actually be the fastest way, but it's, as you can see, it's not very safe. So yeah. Pick and choose basically. Okay, one more spatula, I think. Hold on. Yeah. One more spatula, you warp to end of the wet caves. And now we're going to get the spatula on the rock there. So what I recommend is jump on this leaf. This leaf is very thin again, but since it's pretty long, it's pretty easy to land on the leaf. And then you go to this rock. If you're having trouble with the leaf, you can just use this rock instead, and you can actually just jump on this on the side of this rock here. Then from here, you need to jump on this leaf, and that jump is kind of precise. It's not that bad again. It's a little bit harder than the other leaf jumps, so yeah. And then from this one you jump on this leaf, which is pretty easy because it's right there. So it's a single jump for that one, and then you can jump to the spatula. So let me just show this part one more time. Okay, now we did a double jump. Yeah. From the start, you just jump over here, and there you go. Yeah, I'm not gonna show the fastest thread because it's actually stupid. Okay. Then, that was all for Kelp Forest, for now at least. Then we warp all the way to Cannon Hall again. And then we enter SpongeBob's Dream. And as you see, my auto splitter just split, so yeah. And now we have 9 spatulas and 5 socks. So now we just land on this trampoline here, jump onto SpongeBob's nose, and then from here you can jump on this eyebrow over here, and then just jump to the spatula. And now we go over here, and we just cross the dreamscape. This sleepy time, the hitbox is kind of weird, so you can just walk around the edge here and he will never hit you. Now here, if you can, try to get some more shinies here. For this, I like to move a bit to the left, such that the right hammer bot also moves to the left, which makes it easier to hit him into the tikis and get the shiny objects. If I go to the right, then yeah, it's kind of harder. So I like to walk a bit to the left and then do that. It's no big deal if you miss them though. These aren't very vital shiny objects. Also, if you fall here at any time, you can actually warp to in the crab's claw instead of doing all of Dream from the start again. So then you can go from here, and that saves a bit of time if you fall. You can only do that if you made it this far though. So if you get to this point and then, for example, you get hit by one of these fathers, then you can use that warp to minimize the time loss, I guess. Anyway, from this point, wow, he is very close. From this point, you wanna... Okay, let me just get rid of this guy. From this point, you wanna use this Krabby Patty, and these have pretty interesting hitboxes in that if you jump from them in a specific way, then you can get extra height from them. And that specific way is basically just after you land on them, and that gives you extra height, so you can jump onto Patrick's arm that way. It is possible to jump from the place that I just tried to. Hold on, let me just... Did I have a... Oh, I did have a save state here. It is possible to jump on this ledge right here, like that. So, if you know you're gonna miss it, then you can try that as backup, but it's not very consistent, as you can see here. So don't try to rely on it. Try to just get on the straight part of his arm. If you're having trouble with this Patty jump, then you're gonna have trouble in Pad Stream as well, but this one you can actually skip, so you can just go over to the trampoline instead. Okay, then for Patrick's Dream, yeah, so basically you wanna go and jump, do another one of these jumps on one of these weird surfaces, the bouncy surfaces. Okay. And for this one you want to make sure that the slick doesn't get in your way. So if you do the wrong thing here, then the slick gets all the way in front of you and you can't make it over to Patrick. And to avoid that, you want to jump to the left part of the ice cone here. So just go over here, and then he always turns right. And I highly recommend killing this hammer bot, getting him out of your way before you go over here. So yeah, for the bouncy surfaces again, try to jump as soon as you land, a little bit afterwards. And yeah, that gives you the extra height. Then we enter Pat's mind, talk to him, collect the spat, and that's about it for Dream for now. We'll be back to this level later. For now, we are going to warp to Solitude in E minor. And this is the point where, if you want, you can get this golden underwear here. It helps in a few spaces. It's not necessary, it doesn't save any time. It actually loses time because you're wasting time getting it right now. So if you want, you can skip it. For beginners, I still recommend getting it because there are a couple places where it gets pretty scary with health, so I still recommend this for beginners. And then we enter downtown. Okay, now we just walk forward. You jump on this rock over here to jump on this ledge. Jump over here. And now for this you need to be a bit quick because this Thunder Tiki is going to explode. You just want to make it over to here. If you can, try to avoid grabbing this wheel. There are two wheels which are basically in your way when you do downtown. But for a trick that comes later on, it is very important that you get exactly one wheel in this level. So try to avoid this one and get the next one. If you get this one, no big deal. Just try to remember that you need to avoid the next one. So to avoid this one, you need to walk from corner to corner, basically. You can, like, that's basically how close you need to be to collect it, so try to avoid that. If you, by the way, if you fall or whatever, then you can't really get back up. So what you would need to do is you warp to the start of the level and go again. And the same if for some reason you mess up this jump and the tiki has exploded already. So yeah, for this I like to just jump to this corner and then jump to this corner and then go over here. For this one you need to make this tilt all the way, and then this jump is rather tight, so might want to practice that one. Most important part is that you realize that you can walk off a bit before doing your double jump, and you want to take full advantage of that, as the platform has tilted all the way. Switch to Sandy, and now we just double jump glide and grab this swinger. You can just spam the swinger button. Get rid of this guy so you can get the antenna. You don't need to get rid of him. It basically just wastes time, but at least for beginners I would still recommend it. Intermediates, you can try to get the antenna while he is shooting at you. Then you wanna... Oh, actually, I forgot about this wheel. So there are 3 wheels that are kind of on your way. If you got that wheel, definitely watch out for this wheel, because this one is easy to miss. And yeah. Then we get this antenna. Try to avoid this wheel as well as you jump to this antenna. That jump is also kind of tight. So for this one, maximize jump height and then glide to the antenna. And now you need to avoid this wheel one more time as we go from the corner to here. Get this antenna. And the last antenna. And then we talk to Plankton and grab the spatula. And then we can enter this box. And then glide over to here, because there is a sock behind the building. And then we get the last sock in the area behind the rock, and then enter the next area. For this, the fastest movement is to go up here, glide over here, get a pixel jump here. Okay, I just glided for too long. I already missed the jump. And then from here you jump over to here. You can jump on this window and then jump over here. So let me show that again. Now I stopped gliding too early. Very interesting. Haven't done this in a while, I guess. If for some reason you messed this up, like I just did 3 times, or if you just don't feel comfortable with that, you can go over here and jump to here. You can also do that from the ground and then jump up here. And this is, by the way, the wheel that you want to get if you manage to avoid all the early wheels. This is the last wheel that you come across, so try to avoid the early ones. And if you succeed, you can get this wheel. If you fail to avoid one of them, then try to avoid this one instead. Worst case scenario, if you get 2 or more wheels, you don't need to reset. What you can actually do is you can go to Kelp Forest and you can get one of the statues instead. Let me actually, I think this is probably the easiest one. You can warp to, so it's the end of the wet caves again. And you can, okay, so you can just jump over these rocks and get this statue instead. And this serves to the same purpose as the wheel is going to serve. So if you get 2 or more wheels, then you can get that statue instead. But yeah, so let me just do this again. So you get the wheel. And this is actually pretty safe. Believe it or not, you can just walk here. Same for this window. And this jump up here is actually kind of weird, because you don't make it if you just do it over here. Because the platform is slanted, so you want to jump up here. What I used to do before I knew this was possible is jump from here. So if you're having trouble with that, you can give that a try. I think the window jump is easier though. And then from here, this jump is also kind of tight again. So try to maximize jump height for this one, and then glide over to the spatula. So yeah, all of these jumps are kind of tight, and not too difficult, but maybe hard to get down. From here, yeah, from here we glide over to here. And then get this sock on here. And now we are going to get the cannons go boom spatula. And for that we want to get a checkpoint over here, as you see. The checkpoint also initiates the cannons firing. So try to fall into the checkpoint and then glide over here. If you manage to fail this, you can just jump on it afterwards. And then we just press the buttons on the cannons. So let me just show the segment in its entirety first. So you can slam the buttons like that, and that finishes this objective. So for that, you just need to make sure that you're facing the button as you slam it. You can also face away from it and then turn during the slam, which is a little bit faster, because you don't need to first turn and then hit. And if you fall, by the way, then like this for example, make sure that you wait for them to shoot and then try to get on top of the platform, because it's kind of hard to avoid all of these sinks. And yeah. Anyway, let me show the right way of doing it one more time. So there I jumped too early. In that case, you just need to go back to get the checkpoint, because you really need the checkpoint. There you go. Then we just got the spatula over here. And now what you're gonna do is a trick called hand on demand. So for this, you simply pause, press Y, then go down one, press A to select the level, because you basically just select the Krusty Deluxe stage that you haven't unlocked yet. And then you just exit out of the menu, so you press B twice, and then you get grabbed by the hand. And the reason we do that is so that this platform over here goes back, because this platform just moved over to here during the cannons cutscene. But now we can use this platform to do a precise jump over here to get over the fence. So you need to go in between these two sticks. Hold on. Yeah, you need to go in between these two sticks. Maximize jump height again. So let me show the hand on demand one more time. So you just select a crabs stage and then exit the menu. And the hand is set to grab you after 0.1 seconds, which is 6 frames. Anyway, then we just walk over to Mrs. Puff, and then talking to Mrs. Puff gives you a couple more warps, and we warp through the rings. And now we get the ring spatula over here. So you just press the button. And now for this, the intended way of doing it is going through all of these rings like this. And then you get the spatula. However, the last ring always works. So actually, I think all the rings are already spawned. So what you can do is you can just go straight to the last ring. However, every ring that you go through increments the timer by 1. So the easiest way of doing this is going through 3 of the rings and then going to the end. By the way, the place you want to aim for is this corner right here, and then you want to go a little bit left of this corner, and that's where the trigger is for the ring. A little more intermediate strat is to use only 2 of the rings, which is a little bit tighter in timing. And that looks like this. But yeah, basically that's it. So let me show a 3 ring one more time. So this is very lenient. It's honestly easier than doing the challenge casually. Doing it with 3 rings. And that's it for downtown for now. So now we warp to Patrick's super secret spatula. And we are going to do the boss fight. Oh, by the way, one thing I forgot to mention about rings. If you fail this for some reason, and you have to warp back, or... Actually, I don't think you need to warp, you can just press the button again. Anyways, then you don't get the cutscene when you start it, which makes 2 ring much harder. So let me actually try to get 2 ring. I don't know if I can. Okay, it is still possible, but it's much harder. So I recommend, especially since if you're missing it, then you're having trouble with it. So probably a better idea to then go for the 3 ring as a backup instead. So yeah, now we go to Patrick's Super Secret Formula and enter the Robo Sandy boss fight. Now this boss fight is very strange. Let me just go up front and say that. Basically, what you want to do is you want to hit the tree before it's even visible, because the hitbox is already there. So let me show you where you kind of need to stand. It's kind of like here. There are no visual cues for this because the floor is entirely one color, so it's kind of hard to tell where you need to stand. So you just need to learn it. And the timing for this, you need to wait until Sandy almost hits the floor, and that's when you want to do the bash. And then you wait for that again, so when she almost hits the floor, you bash again. And for the third one, you want to bash when the tree disappears. And that's all there is to phase 1, basically. If you fail, then just warp to the... So let me just show that. If you fail, you can just warp to Poseidon again and start the fight all over. Okay, there we go. On to phase 2. So now you just wait a bit. I like to bash here, it's just for fun. Doesn't really do anything. I just have to wait here. And in this phase, you want to get over here. Jump into the goo every time she slams, such that you don't... Let me just show that real quick. If you stand on the floor during the slam, then you get all the way over here. You need to do the whole robo fight to make it back to the platform, which loses a ton of time. So instead, when she slams, just jump into the goo. You always want to get this nut, because there are 3 nuts. Let me just wait and show. There are 3 nuts. Hold on. Why doesn't she spawn the 3rd? Anyways, there we go. 3 nuts. These are the only 3 nuts. And I always use this one because it's the closest. You can just grab and throw at her. The tree, by the way, the hitbox isn't there in certain cases, but it is there in others, so try to always act as if the tree has a hitbox and don't just look, right? I think it's when she's smashing the tree that it has a hitbox, so always just go around it to hit her. Anyways. So basically every time you just jump into the goo, grab the nut and throw it at Sandy. Jump into the goo, grab the nut, throw it at Sandy, and one more time. Okay, and then you go on to phase 3. Now, you can, instead of jumping into the goo, what you can do is you can do double jumps at the right time. It's a little bit tighter, but it's not that hard. I always do it, and I don't mess it up that often, so it can't be that tight. Jumping into the goo is definitely easier though. And if you did everything fast enough, now you wanna, when the sandy text comes on, you wanna press B as fast as you can. Because if you did everything fast enough, then you can do another skip in phase 3. Basically for this you just need to wait every time until you can hit her tail. And I think it just worked, so then she slams twice and then you can hit her tail twice. That's if everything works out well. Now for some reason, hold on, I'll just pause. So if you do phase 1 and 2 fast enough, then this works. So she slams, then you can hit her tail, then she slams twice, then you can hit the tail twice. And that's the fastest you can get. However, sometimes when you hit her tail the first time, she already starts slamming while you're still lassoing, which loses about 20 seconds. So I'm not entirely sure, but I think it has to do with how fast you do phase 1 and 2. So doing the jumps, the double jumps instead of the jumps into the goo, are kind of safer in that regard. But on the other hand, at least, especially when you're starting out, you shouldn't be worrying too much about these 20 seconds, especially since there are going to be tricks that you're probably going to lose minutes to, especially on your first runs. Anyway, at the end of the fight, let me see. What's my best save state? I think it's this one. So let me just do sandy face all over again so you can see it again. So that's the first slam. And then you have the first tail hit. Then slam twice. And then we hit the tail twice. And then at this point, you want to, basically, the way this works is after a second or so, the spatula animation just starts. So what you want to do to save just a second or two, it's very easy, and it saves about 2 seconds, is you can pause the game and do another hand on demand. And then the spatula animation still starts, so you still collect the spatula. However, you can already pause the game, so this saves a couple seconds. And now you can just warp to where we need to go next, which is Solitude in E minor. So let me show that one more time. So just hand on demand, and then we warp to Solitude in E minor. So if you fail this for whatever reason, and you have to watch the spatula cutscene, then you'll be okay, I guess you still have the time to warp, but if you fail that as well, you can just warp to Solitude after. But yeah, the way you're supposed to do it is to get the hand on demand and then warp to Solitude. Alright, so that was Robo Sandy. Yes, okay, now we got the Solitude in E minor spatula. For this you just talk to Squidward, then you bowl the tikis on the left, and then we go in a counterclockwise direction around to hit everything, and then you get the spatula. So let me show that one more time. Pretty easy. There is something you can do to save a little bit more time, which is kind of tricky. Let me see if I can do this. I haven't done this in a while. But basically, if you bowl exactly right, this can happen. Which means you don't have to spin that tiki. So let me show that one more time. Okay, it's kind of hard. If you manage to, you know, prevent the ball from exploding, then that saves a little bit of time. So the most important part about that is the angle at which you throw the ball, and that you hold the ball button for as short as possible, so that you throw it as slowly as possible. And you want to kind of aim for this line right here. Anyway, now we warp to a bounce in the ducts, and we just go over here, jump on the trampolines, and get the spatula. Down here is a sock, and then we warp to a bounce in the ducts again. And now we walk backwards, and we go in here. There's a bit of a thing you can do here for fun if you want. And let me see if I can get it. It's kind of hard, so this might take a couple tries. Haven't done this in a while. There you go. That's a little bit of a boost. Saves like 30 seconds if you get it. If you miss it, it's definitely not worth going for again. It's kind of fun though. Just do this for fun if you want. And otherwise, you can hit this Thunder Tiki. Gives a couple more shinies. It's not that big of a deal. Then, okay, here you need to watch out. Don't do things in the wrong order here. This is very important that you do this right, or else you will soft lock a spatula, which means that you can't finish the run anymore. So make sure that you do the things here in the right order. So first we walk down here. Then Patrick automatically talks to us. And we press B to get rid of the text. And now we're going to do a trick called pet duping, which basically stands for Patrick Spatula Duplication. Basically we have 10 socks, but we can buy a Patrick Spatula twice. The way that this works is when you talk to Patrick, he has to check whether you have 10 socks, and you can use that to buy a spatula. However, he doesn't do that check when you talk to him. Instead, what he does is when you get into his proximity, I don't know the exact proximity for this, but when you get in his proximity, that's when he checks if you have enough socks. Let me see if I have any way of showing this. I do not. Okay, that's fine. But basically that also means that if you have 9 socks and you then grab this sock and then talk to Patrick, then he will not give you a spatula, because he doesn't think you have 10 socks, because you entered his proximity with 9. However, we can also abuse this to do good, because we already have 10 socks, and this game has 2 ways of trading spatulas, and one way is to do it from the menu. So we just press Y and then A, and that buys a spatula from the menu. However, we entered Patrick's proximity with 10 socks, so now when we talk to him, he thinks we give him 10 socks. So now we buy 2 spatulas for the price of 10 socks, and then we grab the sock. Alright, so that's basically what you have to do. So one more time, you walk down, you exit the text, you buy a spatula from the menu, and then you buy a spatula for Patrick. And then you grab the sock. So also important to mention, if you grab this sock before talking to Patrick, then you lose that sock. So definitely do not do that. Instead, talk to Patrick, then buy, and then grab the sock. So one more time, exit the text, buy from the menu, then buy from Patrick, and then grab the sock. Alright, and at this point we are going to go to hub 2. So we climb the stairs, bowl the button out here, make sure to hold down the bowl button so you bowl far enough. And then we go to the right here. One thing you can do here for fun, by the way, is you can just bowl, and sometimes you get a speed boost off of here, like that. Saves like a second, not very important, but it's kind of fun. And no reason not to try, because missing it loses barely anything. Then right here we are going to get the 3-room spatula. The fastest way of doing this, let me first show the fastest way of doing this. You go over here, you bowl the Duplicatotron, you bowl that Duplicatotron, and then you bowl through all the Thunder Tikis. And then sometimes some robots remain, sometimes everything dies immediately. Alright, I think there you go. Let me see if I can get a good RNG one. Okay, I failed it again. It's basically RNG whether these bomb bots kind of things die or not. So now I got good RNG and everything died. So yeah, that's basically it. And this is also one of the reasons that it's a good idea to get the golden underwear. Because if you mess this up in any way, for example, I get hit by one of these hammer bots or something. Okay, anyways, if you mess anything up here, then it's nice to have that extra underwear. Yeah, one more thing. Sometimes, let's see if I can get that to happen. Sometimes this bomb bot is in the way, and you can, instead of bowling the Duplicatotron, because the bomb bot is in the way, you can bowl into the bomb bot and get the bomb bot to go into the Duplicatotron instead. It's kind of hard, so yeah. Ultimately, it doesn't really matter how you do this, especially as a beginner. But yeah, I'm just showing you the fastest way of doing it. And yeah, then we get the spatula, and then we leave this place. So we just walk out of here. And then we are going to climb the blocks over here. This jump is kinda hard, by the way. Let me just show how you can get this consistently. So basically, you want to wait for this one to go down, and then you always make it here. Because you can't jump onto this block if it's rotating, kinda. Obviously you can if you're doing it right, but yeah, it's preferably you jump on this right after the rotation. And you can hit the Duplicatotron for some shinies, and hit these Tikis for some shinies. And then we enter the Murmur. And then we immediately exit the Murmur. And you might be asking, why in the world would we be doing this? And that is simply so we get the warp to Roll-A-Rama in the menu, so we don't have to go there again. Then we go over this line, which gives us dive in a dead end warp. That's granted to you when you go over this line. So just to make sure, try to go a bit more over so you know you get it. And over here you can do a fun ball boost again if you want. And then we enter Sand Mountain. There we go. And that's when we that's the next split. So that was a bit of a long split. Poseidon and a bunch of hub stuff. Anyways, in Sand Mountain we just grab this ticket You can bowl the stack on the left for some more shinies. It's a pretty good stack. And you can also get rid of this robot if you want. For this, you mash A to get rid of the text, the cutscene. For Mrs. Puff, if you mash A, then it takes quite a bit of time to get to the time challenge. So the fastest way of doing this is pressing B, R, A. And then we just go down the slide. Let me see, did I... Yeah, okay. And over here, you can just jump down and get this sock. And then jump back onto the slide over here. Make sure, by the way, let me show something that can go wrong there. And by the way, hitting the tikis here makes it easier to go past them, because if you hit the tikis at the wrong time, then you'll have trouble with jumping. If you... Damn it, I forgot to make a save state again. Okay. If you hit this fodder into the... I don't even know how to do this. Let me just go all the way back over here. This is kind of rare anyways, even if you're not paying attention to this. I've never tried to do this on purpose. Anyway, that can happen, which can potentially knock you off of the slide. So that's something worth keeping in mind. So try to make sure that you don't hit the fodder into the Thunder Tikis. However, you do want to hit the Thunder Tikis yourself, because they give a bunch of shiny objects. Same for these over here. Then over here, you want to bowl this button, because for some reason you can bowl the button even if the Duplicatortron is there. So bowl this button, then jump down to get the sock, then spin this one, and then you can get out of here. If you spin that button before going down to the sock, then you have the risk of the Duplicatortron exploding as you're trying to get out there, and this method just gives you more time. Now, you can go into the box to get the final spatula. However, it's 1 second faster if you just warp to Guppy Mound and walk backwards. Alright. Then we warp to Risky Bungee. And if you're on... By the way, that's something I forgot to mention about the Robo Sandy fight. Is the way I just did it only works on version 5.04. And remember the thing where I was talking about losing 20 seconds if you mess it up? Well, basically, if you're not on 5.04 but on an earlier version, then that trick doesn't work at all, so you're basically always losing those 20 seconds. However, so 5.04, version 5.04 saves about 20 seconds in Robo Sandy. However, this is one of the places where version 5.04 loses a bit of time. If you're on an early version, you can just jump down the bungee and get the spatula. However, in version 5.04, the developer decided to make you hit the tikis before getting the spatula. And that spawns the spatula instead. Wait, I've never actually... That is so whack. Anyways. I've never tried that before. Anyways, the fastest way of hitting the tikis, if you're on version 5.04, is you want to go immediately to the bungee and hold right. And that hits the top left, the top and right tikis. Just hold right. And then you just hit the hold down left and hit the last two tikis as you press A to dive into the tikis and the spatula. So let me show that one more time. Hold right, hold down left, press A, and that's about it. Alright, Now we go to SpongeBob's dream again, and we warp to In the Crab's Claw. And now you want to just do a double jump spin and land on the belt of Mr. Krabs. So let me show that one more time. You want to land on this part of the belt. You can land further forwards, but it's a bit inconsistent. Okay, let me see if I can fail it. It's kind of weird when you fail it. It's hard to tell. Of course, I'm not failing it right now. Anyways, one way to prevent failing it is to do the spin as late as possible, which means that you're falling less fast, that you're not falling that quickly. If you're having trouble with this, no need to worry, you can just go over to the spatula and then okay, maybe not do that, but instead just go over the back of Mr. Krabs. You can just do this if you're having trouble with the belt thing. Yeah, try to do the spin as late as possible and jump on this part of the belt for the most consistency. Then from here, you wanna jump over Mr. Krabs and over to the Krabby Patty with the spatula on top. And that's about all for Dream 2. Now we go to downtown again. And we warp to Hall Monster, yes, okay. So for this there are a couple strats you can do. Well, I'm just gonna show you how I do it. I hit this guy first, then I hit this guy, then I bowl the Duplicatortron, and now there's a lot of RNG, so there's a lot of options of what could happen next. But basically I first try to hit whatever is over here, if anything, and then I'll bowl whatever is over there. Which in this case is nothing. So let me just show you a couple scenarios. And by the way, the Tartar bots require 2 hits to die, but if you bowl them, then they die in 1 hit. So you always want to bowl the Tartar guys. Let me see if I can get a case where something spawns over here. Of course not. There you go. So in this case I would just bowl these guys. Then what I do is I go to the left to hit whatever is here, which in this case is nothing. And then usually there's stuff left over there. And what you want to do is basically, let me first show you what this is all about. Basically when the spatula spawns there's a cutscene, as you can see. So during that cutscene you can't do anything, so you're just waiting and wasting time. However, you can collect the spatula during the cutscene, which basically means that the spatula animation doesn't eat as much time as it would otherwise do. And one way to attain that is to stand pretty much over here. So you have this place where the texture is going all wild, and if you stand a little bit in front of that and then bowl whatever is over there, you can bowl and then bulk off and you'll land into the spatula. And that means that your spatula animation and the spawn animation overlap, which saves a bit of time. So let me just see if I can get a full segment. Real. Okay, nothing spawned over there, which means that I can't do the overlap trick. So I'm gonna take a little bit more time before I get a good one. There we go. Now I can bowl this guy and walk off the ledge. and then the spatula spawn animation and the spatula grab animation overlap, and that saves a bit of time. Let me just show you a couple more times, because it's an RNG fight after all, so who knows if something interesting happens which you can learn from. This is something interesting, I guess. You can sometimes, if you have a Chuck and a Tartar bot and you bowl them, sometimes for some reason they both die immediately, which I don't completely understand. But yeah, that's why I always walk off anyways. Also, especially as a beginner, no need to worry about saving much time here. I'm just showing the optimal strats because why not? That was very interesting. Anyways, learned something new as well. There are a lot of possibilities of what can happen here, so basically just practice this a bit if you want to save time here. And if you're a beginner, no need to worry about this. Just hit all the robots and don't die. Next up, Goo Lagoon. So we warp to Solitude in E minor again. And then we walk down here to enter Goo Lagoon. Now the top level strats for this level are kinda cringe, so we're not gonna do that. We're just gonna hit this tiki, let this fall, bash off of here to get the sock. Then we just switch to Patrick. And we need to grab this freezy fruit. Go over here. And freeze the goo. If this flame is over here, you can just jump over it. Same for this one. But if it's gone, then yeah. Anyways, just grab the spatula and that's about it. Then we warp to freeze the lagoon. And we go down here. And you jump on here, jump on here, jump on the door. And then let's grab up here. If you somehow fall and the tikis are gone, then you can just warp to this again and try again. And we go over here for this sock. You can touch this tiki for some more shinies. Go over here for this sock. Go down here. And for this part, there's something interesting you can do. I'll just show the optimal strat here first. So you hit these. And that's the optimal strat. So basically a couple things just happened. I just walked through the explosion of the duplicated tron without getting damaged from it. So let me just show what happens if you don't do anything interesting. When this happens, which we don't want because then I need to jump all the way back. So to prevent that, I explode these tikis at the right time. Such that the invincibility frames that you get from getting hit last long enough that I can just walk through the duplicated ton explosion. So it's just important that you hit these tikis at the right time. And the other thing I wanted to mention is you can press this button really fast, but that's not very important. Okay, now we go to Patrick's super secret spatula. We talk to Mr. Krabs. And we're going to buy the jellyfish jumble level. And then 4 more right, the hole in sponge level. And then we enter the hole in sponge level. And for this, the fastest way to do this is like this. So basically, when you're in a sponge ball, you can press A or B or X, whatever, to exit the sponge ball. And if you're in the air, then after exiting, you have a quarter of a second on which you can do a single jump. And if you do a single jump, then you can do a double jump. So basically, that's what I do over here. So you just exit and then immediately do a single jump into a double jump. And yeah, if you mess this up and just fall, one thing you can do is this as a backup, but it's pretty precise. That's kind of hard. So a more realistic backup would be to just go back here, get the sponge ball again, and try to jump up here again. And then we just go to the end. One thing you can do over here for fun is you can try and damage boost off this spike. It's kind of risky because if you land into these spikes over here at the wrong angle, then you immediately die. So it's kind of risky. I don't think I would recommend this to beginners, but it's fun to play around with. Just get the spatula basically. Okay, then we warp to Jellyfish Jumble, the other level that we just bought. For this, right around here you want to bowl the Duplicatotron, and then over here just bash, and then you get over here. And then we can just grab the spatula like that, pretty easy. And then we press start and B to go back to the normal menu, and we warp to dive in a dead end. And we just get on the bungee, grab the spatula, and that's about it. Because now we go to Patrick's Secret Spatula again. And then we are going to do Industrial Park. I'm not going to go over the Patrick triple hits in my beginner intermediate tutorial. I'll show it one time so you know what I'm talking about. Basically there's a trick you can do over here that instantly ends phase 1. You can also do it in phase 3. I don't think it's worth learning as a beginner. It's pretty hard. So the way I like to do this is go from side to side. And what you can see is Patrick has 4 ways of hitting you with the ball. He either hits onto this platform, on this platform, or this platform, or he shoots directly at you. And you can actually see when he's going to shoot directly at you, because he will do a full spin, a 360. Let's see if he can do, yeah, there you go. See, he does a full 360 to hit you. And for that reason, what I like to do is I go from this corner over to this corner. And then when he approaches, just pull him. And it's pretty easy to see when he's going to hit you with the 360 method, so yeah. Phase 3 is going to be a bit more interesting. Anyway, that's phase 1. On to phase 2. For this, you want to just hit the button. And you can actually, I just wasn't thinking. You can actually, as you hit the button, you can move back and hit the swinger. So there, I just missed the button for some reason. Hit the button and get the swinger. And for this, the second one, you don't want to do that. I'll show you why. Real. Sometimes that happens. You can kind of see it coming and try to prevent it, but it's kind of hard. But if you do this twice, then you'll be here too soon. So if you hit the button, then it's already hit. So you need to wait for the button to return. So for this one, you can just double jump into it, and then the timing is better. I don't even know what I would recommend, like as you're starting out. So I'm just going over the way I always do it. Just hit the button, get the swinger. Hit the button, double jump, get the swinger. Hit the button, get the swinger. hit the button, double jump, get the swinger, hit the button, get the swinger, hit the button, and then just go to save ground. Now, I guess if you're starting out, it's probably a better idea to first get rid of these hammer bots and try to get on the platform and then use the swinger or something. And you don't even have to switch sides, I guess, as much as I do. You can just hit the second one and then just wait, and then hit it again, and then go to the other side. If you fall, by the way, at the end, that's not a big deal. You go to phase 3 anyways. So let me just go over phase 2 one more time. I'll do the easy strat I just did. Oh. Anyway, then it's time for phase 3, which is, as a beginner, you're probably going to struggle with this quite a bit, because now you have these cannons to worry about as well. The way I like to do this is at the start of phase 3, walk forwards to make the cannons hit you over there, and then try to avoid whatever Patrick shoots at you. And then at the end of the, like, I guess I'll call it stages, because you have to hit Patrick 3 times, so that gives 3 stages of phase 3. And the cannons shoot at the start of stage 1 and at the end of stage 1. So at the start of stage 1 I like to move forwards, so they shoot at the front, and then I can hide in the back basically. And at the end you need to bowl Patrick to actually hit him. So I like to stand in the back, so the cannons shoot behind me and then I can bowl forwards. So let me just show that. So basically stand forward, then try to avoid whatever Patrick shoots at me, stand back, make him shoot, and then there you go. So that's, I'll show it one more time. So stand forward, avoid whatever Patrick shoots, and then there you go. And then for phase 2, I like to stand in this corner, or stage 2 I guess. I like to stand in this corner, and Patrick and the cannons are now going to shoot at the same time. So then I can avoid everything at the same time as well. And now Patrick's going to charge before the cannons shoot, so you don't have to worry as much about the cannons. And the cannons are just going to shoot at the front, because you're going to shoot and you'll be at the front of the platform. So let me show stage 2 one more time. And then I can just move back to avoid the cannons. And then in stage 3, the cannons hit a bit later, during the second hit of Patrick, and that's the last time the cannons shoot. And that's about all there is to it. So let me show the entire stage 3 again, or phase 3. So there I stood at the back to avoid the cannons, now I stand on the left, so Patrick and the cannons shoot at the same time. And now I've moved back to avoid the cannons. And now the cannons are going to shoot. And there you go. And that's phase 3. Alright, that's all for Industrial Park. Now we warp to a bounce in the duct. And we are going to enter Jellyfish Fields. And now we are going to start cruise boosting. Let's tackle. So, for a tutorial for this trick, you probably want to go to the original BFBB tutorial made by Shift. He has a pretty decent tutorial for cruise boosting. Anyway, we're going to cruise boost off of Larry. Larry is basically just a rectangular box, so it's really easy to cruise boost off of him. It's just hard to see where the wall is, but you can still see to which side you are like sliding. So just get a cruise boost over here. And then double jump onto here. Over here. And then you want to slam on this flower to get extra height and get this saw. And then we get into the bungee. And then we warp to dive between the rocks. Then we walk over here. We get a cruise boost over here. Oh. Then you jump on here to get this sock. And then for this I want to mention one small thing. Because we're going to go over here and down here to get this sock. And a tiny optimization you can do, which I thought was kind of fun, is you can jump before falling to get more down momentum. And because of the way cruise boosting works, it doesn't matter if you land before going down, you still have a lot of down momentum. So as you can see, if I walk off here, I don't drop like a brick, but if I first jump and then walk off, then I drop like a brick. So yeah, that's something you can do to get this sock just a couple frames faster. It doesn't really matter, especially as a beginner, but I think it's kind of fun. So anyways, moving on. Here's a bit of a weird trick. So we're going to clip into this cage. For this you want to get rid of your cruise boost, ball it away. Move over here. Get a new cruise boost, but a slow one. So as you can see, this is a very slow cruise boost. Then, as you stand here with your slow cruise boost, you want to bash. And then you just hold L. And that's it. And you go into the cage. So let me show that one more time. Get rid of the cruise boost, get a new one. And then just press L. And then you get the spatula. Pretty easy. Pretty weird. But that's just the way it is. Anyways, now we go to Goo Lagoon. And we warp to King of the Castles. Yes, alright. And over here we're going to get the roll with its spatula. For that, I think the best way is to get a cruise boost on this side of Larry. Then you want to jump onto these tikis. And do a bash, jump, spin, slam. To get over here to the spatula. It's kind of hard. This might be a very hard jump to learn as a beginner. So I'll show you an alternative in a moment. But that's the fastest, or at least the fastest way that doesn't involve frame perfect tricks to get this spatula. So yeah, it's kind of tight. I think you can also make it without the bash. Let me actually try that for a moment. Yeah, alright, it's possible without the bash. So you can try this out as well. Maybe you'll find it easier without the bash. Maybe you'll find it easier with the bash. If you can't get this down, no need to worry. You can just go around. It doesn't lose that much time to just go around instead. And then you just get the spatula. So let me show this way one more time. And you kind of want to camera block into this corner so that you don't die. But if you do die, no big deal. It just loses like a couple seconds. And then we warp to roll with it. And then we get a cruise boost off of the box. And then we go over here. And for this you want to just do, make sure you're high enough to hit the trigger to enter the pier. And we cruise boost off of this wall. Top the crabs, go over here. And now you want to jump from here to here, get the checkpoint, go over here. Try to get rid of your cruise boost. You don't need to get rid of your cruise boost for this part, but it's a bit easier to do so. And it's especially easier to prevent dying after you do this. So basically the way this works is when you're on top of this thing while it's going up, then you shoot into the air so you can just land onto the spatula. So you just need to get the timing down for when you're at the left side of the Ferris wheel and you can jump up. It's very wank. This isn't very consistent, so if you're messing it up, it's not necessarily your fault, but yeah. It's also not that bad, so there you go. Then once you're done with that, we warp to Tiki in the Cup. And then we get rid of these two fathers, get the rock, throw it over here, and now you need to throw the Tiki into the cup. And this is the setup you want to use. You want to look at the floor, and you see that the dark part ends right there. You want to stand on this, like with your legs around that place where the dark part ends, like kind of like this. And then you can see that the platform I'm standing on is moving up and down. And the easiest way to see that, in my opinion, is look at the goo. So now it starts going up, down, up, down. And when it starts going up, that's when you want to throw the Tiki. There you go. And then it always lands into the cup. So let me show that one more time. So you want to set it up. Make sure that you're facing the Tiki at the right distance, and then we wait until it's going up, and then we throw and it spawns the spatula. And then we go over here to grab this sock. And when we get the sock, we warp to Patrick's super secret spatula again. And then we walk left, and we're going to do another Patrick spatula duplication. So be wary. Do not do things in the wrong order, or your run is going to die. Because you would need to get a backup spatula, which is something I'm going to go over, by the way, at the end. But yeah. So first, buy a spatula from the menu, and then buy a spatula from Patrick. And because you entered Patrick's proximity with 10 socks, it doesn't matter that you lost those socks, he will still think you have 10 socks. And that's about it for that. Then we warp to Rollerama in the Murmelair. And then we exit the Murmelair again. Let's go. And then we just enter Rock Bottom. And that's just the fastest way of entering Rock Bottom, funnily enough. Okay, and in Rock Bottom we get a cruise boost off of Squidward. Let me see what's the angle here. Okay, I guess this is the angle you want. So you want to put the sock in the background above Squidward, and then you can get a pretty easy cruise boost like that. You can also get a cruise boost off of the rock. I think is this face. Alright, yeah. You can get a cruise boost off of there. Alright, anyways. Yeah, for this you want to jump onto this rock and then jump to the sleepy time and hit him. If you get hit by this sleepy time, you lose your cruise boost. You can get a new one on the rock here. Then you have a new cruise boost. You go up to this trampoline. Now for this sleepy time, I recommend going onto this rock, then hitting him from there. You want to make sure that you don't accidentally hit these Thunder Tikis, or else you will lose your cruise boost again, like this. And I think you can use this part of the rock. There you go, to get a new one. Then we go over to the sock. And This jump over here is kind of tight. So for this, let me just tell you that, like I was saying earlier about the down momentum, if you spin, then you lose down momentum. So what you want to do here is you want to just spin before you go off the ledge, because then you don't fall down immediately, and you can actually use that to make this jump easier. You don't need to do that. You can also make it without walking off first, but it makes the jump a bit more lenient. So yeah, as you can see, you can make it without walking off, but yeah. Then for this, you wanna hold neutral, which means that you're not touching the movement control stick, and that makes the guy not hit you. So just set up your angle so you're moving towards him, and then double jump, and then you can hit him. Just like that. And then for this spatula, you want to turn the camera so you fall off the ledge. And then the hand grabs you, which puts you back over here. And then we get a cruise boost off of this rock over here. Go over here. You get this sock, and then we go over here. And here the same principle, actually, well, maybe it doesn't work here. I guess the best thing to do there is just go around instead of towards the sleepy time. So yeah, you can just go around like this, and he will not hit you. Here I recommend hitting this tiki because it gives a bunch of shiny objects, and you lose the cruise boost, which means that you can't accidentally fall off during the spatula animation or anything. Okie dokie. Let me see which socks we get here again. Alright. Now you want to get a cruise boost off of the rock here, or off of the box. And this jellyfish is kind of dangerous. If you're not very efficient at cruise boosts yet, then you have the risk of him hitting you. So you can get rid of the jellyfish for safety if you want. Then we get this sock. Then we get over here to get this art. Turn around, go over here. This jump is a bit tight again, so there we go. And then we do double jump spin, and then we turn to the left. And that's just to avoid an out of bounds trigger. And then we fall off. And here comes the hardest part of the route, probably, because this is a frame perfect trick. So I'll show you an alternative to this in a second. But this frame perfect trick saves a lot of time, and if you miss it, you can immediately try again. So this is one of the easiest frame perfect tricks to actually save time with, which is why I'm going to put it in the route. However, as I said, I will show an alternative in a moment. But before that, let me just show the movement here one more time. Let me get rid of the jellyfish. So a sock. You don't need the slam there, by the way, if you have good jump spacing. Anyway, here comes the frame perfect trick. So this is what it should look like, kinda. Not exactly, but anyways, that's basically what the trick is. So if you bowl on the frame that Hans releases you, you get a ginormous speed boost. And let me just quickly explain kind of why that works. So basically, if you bowl, then you get a little bit of a boost forwards. However, if you're walking during the bowl, then you get much more of a boost, as you can see. And the faster you're moving, the more boost you get. And when Hans places you back into the level, that basically teleports you from the start of the level to the place that he places you. So in a single frame, you go in enormous distance. So if you bowl on that frame, that gives you a speed boost, which displaces you every single frame with the distance that you traveled when Hans placed you, which is huge. However, the game does have a speed cap if you're falling. So right after the ball boost, we're already falling. So the boost only lasts for like a single frame, which is enough because we still make it over to the platform that we want to, and the cap that it puts on our speed is still pretty high, so we're still moving pretty fast. Anyways, so basically the trick is to press ball on the frame that Hans leaves the screen, and the timing for that, you kind of need to just practice, get it down. So basically just watch the hand go off the screen and try to learn at which moment of time you need to press B. And if you press B and nothing happens, that means you were too early. If you press B and you just ball but you don't get a boost, that means you were too late. And if you do it well, then this happens. Then when you're in the air, you need to turn, because we need to make it over to the platforms over here. So basically, okay, just turn and then jump. Now one thing worth mentioning, as I was saying, as you're falling in this game, you have a speed cap, which was implemented to give you like a terminal velocity, I think. So when you jump, when you do the double jump out of the ball, that speed cap is removed. So let me just show you what that looks like. So now I jump and I make it all the way over here, which is way too far. So the way to prevent that, let me just show you what happens if I bowl again. If I bowl, then I slowly slow down, as you can see. And the longer I hold ball, the more I slow down. So there I don't slow down that much, but if I hold it really long, then I slow down much more. So that's what you're doing. You have to press ball, frame perfectly when Hans leaves the screen. Then you need to hold ball, so you slow down a lot. And you need to slow down such that you can then jump again and not overshoot, so you actually make it to the platform. So let me just show that one more time. So I'm holding ball and then I'm jumping and then I make it over here. And there you go. Preferably you land on that platform, so try to aim for that one, but if you make it to the other, that's still fine. Because what you want to do now is you want to go to this spot over here. So you want to look at the floor texture to make sure that you're standing at the right spot. I use this kind of brownish blob over here to remember that I need to stand over here. And then you need to missile the button. And then the spatula spawns right where you're standing, which means that the animations overlap, just like in the hall monitor fight earlier. And then we just grab the sock and leave. However, as promised, there is an alternative method here. So let me just show you that real quick. So here's the alternative. If you can't do the one frame, which is totally understandable, or if you just don't want to because it's really annoying to just over and over try again and just miss the frames, kind of annoying as you're starting out, you can instead warp to Leap of Faith, and then you're Sandy, and you want to glide over to here, go over here, and we're going to use the Tartar bot. to damage boost. And then you can grab this swinger. And then you can extend the damage boost. And then slide over to here. And this is the alternative method to get over here. And now we need to switch to SpongeBob. So we go up here and just switch to SpongeBob, and then the rest is the same. So just go to that spot, miss all the button, and grab the sock. So let me show this one more time. Hold on. You want to stand on the edge, and then jump into the damage, and then grab the swinger, extend the damage boost, and then glide the final distance. Anyways, when you get the sock, okay, where do we go next? We warp to swinging a lullaby. And then we just grab this art. Pretty straightforward. Now we warp to swinging a lullaby again. And we walk this way instead. We glide over to the bus stop. And switch to SpongeBob. And grab the spatula over here. And then we enter the museum. And now we're going to do SpongeBob Museum. If you're having trouble with this, you can do Museum casually, which means that you just hit all the robots. And then, doing Museum casually, you do that as Sandy, by the way. So you just hit all the robots, and then a certain platform lowers. I think it's the lamp in the background, the top one. That one lowers. And then you can use that to grab the spatula. And then the art and the sock. However, I'm just going to show it as SpongeBob instead. So you want to get a cruise boost over here. Get the sock. The art down here. The sock back here. Bash up here. And up here. Bash up here. Jump up here. Get the art. And this jump is kind of tight. And this jump is also kind of tight. And if you fail one of the final two jumps, then you have to reload the level. So that loses a bunch of time, but yeah. Let's see, where is the warp for that? I think it's the last one. Yeah, after hours at the museum. If you fail one of the last two jumps, then you have to warp back. And try again. Or you can just do it casually as Sandy if you fail. Anyways, remember, if you do it as Sandy, definitely remember to get the art and the sock after you grab the spatula. Or before, whatever. You just need to get everything in here. That's the important part. Now you warp to dive into the abyss. And for this, again, if you're on version 5.04, then the sock here doesn't spawn yet. And the sock only spawns after you hit all the tikis. So now the sock has spawned, as you can see. However, on earlier versions, the sock is already there, so you don't need to hit the tikis. But if you're on version 5.04, then this is the optimal way to get all the tikis. Here we go. Go up left, grab the spatula, go left, hit these, and then go left. And that's the fastest way of getting the tikis. But if you're on an earlier version, then you don't need to do any of that. And then we just warp to, I think, finding Sandy at the bus stop is good enough. Yeah, there we go. Talk to Miss Squidward. Grab the spatula. So, we collected all the art in order to get the spatula from Mr. Squidward over here. But we can now do a trick called CCA, which stands for Collectible Counter Abuse, which refers to the counter in the bottom left, which counts the collectibles of individual levels. And we can abuse that counter from one level to complete the objective in another. So now we have 6 art, and for Kelp Forest we need to collect 6 statues. And we can actually just use the 6 art to complete the objective in Kelp Forest. So for this, all you have to do is warp to Kelp Forest and press the cruise bubble at the right time, and then let me actually show you when you do it correctly. Then this happens, and Plankton just thinks you completed the objective and spawns the spatula. And the timing for this, for pressing L, is pretty lenient. I don't know why, but for some reason this level is pretty lenient. At least on Dolphin, like I'm playing, I just wait until the screen freezes. Like you can see the bubbles moving during the loading screen, and eventually they freeze. And that's when I press L. And then the spatula spawns. So this is called CCA, and this specific case is pretty easy. I've heard that it's also pretty easy on other versions of the game. I have no ways of verifying that yet, so I'm just gonna have to go off of what I know. Anyways, that's all for Rock Bottom. I'm saying that as I'm standing in Kelp Forest, but you know, that's just the way it is. That's all for Rock Bottom. Now we go back to Goo Lagoon. Where is it? Here is it. Roll with it is where we're going next. And now you just jump onto the door here, jump up here, jump up to the sock, and we enter the sea caves. We get a cruise boost off of this wall. And for this trick, what you want to do, let me just first show what it looks like. Okay. That's what it looks like. So basically what you're doing there is called L clipping. And it's called that because you're mashing the shit out of the L trigger and then you clip. Pretty much. Because the cruise bubble, the cruise missile, gives you a certain kind of invincibility when you use it, and the hitbox of SpongeBob is kind of weird when you do that, and it allows you to clip for a single frame. So basically we just press L a bunch of times and then you clip through there. Basically just mash L. And the reason I do this weird jump is like if I'm doing it like this, then it's not gonna work. If I just jump from here, it's not gonna work. I think it still works if I do a good double jump here, but the reason we do the double jump is to get momentum down momentum. So the fastest way is to just, yeah. You just kind of need to get stuck in this place and just mash L. And you need the down momentum, so that's why we jump off the tiki. And as I already showed, if you mess this up or something, you can just double jump and try again. If you're having more trouble with it, you can jump off of this tiki and then try it from here. Okay, I think that should work. I don't know why it's not working right now, but I'll try again, I guess. Okay, there we go. I don't know what that was about. Let me actually try it one more time. Maybe I can figure it out. I don't know. Maybe it was facing angle. You need to kind of face in that direction to clip. Enough about that. Let's go to the next area. Now we get Cruise Boop. For this, we do another animation overlap. So for this you need to stand in the right spot, and this is kind of hard to tell because this floor texture doesn't have much texture, I guess you could say. So try to find whichever visual cue you can, but you need to stand right around here. And then we do a missile, and we go over the fence and hit his nose. Okay, I was standing in kind of a bad spot, I guess, but yeah. I guess it's kind of here. It's whatever. You just need to find whichever visual cue works for you and then stand in the right spot. And even if you miss it, it doesn't lose that much time, so it's not a big deal. Okay, next up, we go to Jellyfish Fields, and now we're going to do another CCA. And this is actually why you need exactly one wheel, because this CCA goes to Jellyfish Fields, which requires you to have exactly one, let's see, what is it? Antidote, I think it's called. Jelly, King Jellyfish Jelly, whatever. So if you have 2 wheels, then you need to go to Kelp Forest and get a camper instead, or a statue it's called in this game. You need to get the statue over here, so you can go over to here to get this statue. And remember, I warped to End of the Wet Caves. And then you can use this statue to do CCA instead of the downtown wheel. But I'm just gonna use downtown, because that's what you're supposed to use. So for this CCA is a bit different than the last one, because of weird triggers that Mix has. Try not to think about it too much. I'm just gonna tell you the inputs that you have to do. And this one is kind of precise. So basically, instead of just pressing L at the right time, for this one, you need to press L and pause, or start, at the same time, and also at the right time. So it's pretty precise, this one. So this one is probably gonna give you quite a bit of trouble, especially as a beginner. Do not worry if you like lose a minute to this, because it's quite normal as a beginner to just lose a minute to doing this over and over again. It's kind of a weird trick. And that's not all, but that's the first step. So let's just go over that first. So basically you just warp to it, and then at the right time you press pause plus L. Okay, there, I missed it. That was too early. So if you're too early, then... And this is too late. So if you're too late, then you just pause the game and nothing special happens. There we go. This is good. So the reason I know this is good is because the game paused. And if you look in the bottom left, then you see 1 out of 1 King Jellyfish Jelly. Oh fuck, what did I do? Um, yeah, okay, never mind. That was just Dolphin being weird. So 1 out of 1 King Jellyfish Jelly. And as you can see, if I unpause, then it goes away. And the CCA just failed. So even though I got the first part, that just failed. So one more time. If you press the buttons too early, then nothing happens. If you press the buttons too late, then you just pause the game. And if you press them at the right time, then this happens. And this is what you want to happen. I guess what can also happen is that you pause at the right time, but you don't press L at the right time. In which case you also just pause. And you won't see the 1 out of 1 in the bottom left corner. Anyways, this might take you a couple tries. The timing on the pause plus L is pretty precise, so don't worry too much about that. And then the next part of the trick requires you to unpause and press L on the exact next frame. Now that might sound a bit hard, and that's because it is. However, there is a way to make it easier, because if you press unpause, which I'm doing with the B button, but on Xbox I think you can also use select, but just use any button that unpauses. Okay, the game just crashed, whatever. If you unpause and press L on the same frame, nothing happens, which means that you can try again. However, if you unpause and press L 2 frames after you unpause or more, then this happens. Hold on, that was not what I wanted. I guess it is what I wanted. Then nothing happens, or this happens. Yeah, but basically that's not good. You wanna have this happen, which makes the spatula spawn. And this happens if you press unpause and L on the exact next frame. So what I like to do is I press unpause and L as soon as I can afterwards. So like 100th of a second afterwards, something like that. Like insanely fast. So just unpause and press L as fast as you can. And then usually this happens. Nothing. I just press the buttons. And sometimes it works. And that just means that I just mash these buttons until it works. So that's the safest way to do it. You just do that over and over until you get it. And the faster you press them, the safer you are, because the less the odds are that you accidentally press L too late and have to do the whole trick over again. But it also means that you're gonna need more tries. Like I just needed quite a bunch of tries to finally get it. But yeah, if you do it a little bit more leniently, if you press the L a little later, then you can get it first try if you're confident enough. Anyway, I think that's all I have to say about this. So basically, what I heard is that it works the same on other consoles, but I haven't had the opportunity to test that out. This is probably one of the hardest trick in this route. So I would say probably the hardest parts are the ball boost, which I showed you an alternative for, and this trick, which doesn't really have an alternative. So this one you just need to get it down, or you just need to take the loss and accept that you're going to lose time to this every run, which is fine, especially as a beginner. Don't worry too much about it. But yeah, later on, definitely try to get this down. Okay, that's all I wanted to say about that. So now we warp. So this is why this trick is so good. This allows us to warp straight to the end, because we just got the Beat Larry's Time spatula. So now we can do the whole Jellyfish Fields level in reverse. And that saves a ton of time. And that's why there isn't really an alternative. So basically we just warp there and then we just wait for this cutscene. I think this is the longest wait in the entire speedrun. I think it's like 17 seconds. Anyway, we go up to this trampoline. And then we want to jump to this button. And you can just jump, spin, jump to get over here. It's not that difficult. However, I can still imagine that you're having trouble with this. By the way, you can also ledge grab, so it's really not that bad. But if you're having trouble with this, no worries. You can just get a cruise boost here instead, and that makes it completely free. And then just press the button. And we'll get the spatula. And at this point we warp to beat Larry's time again. And then we go on the trampoline again, and now we exit from the back. And now for this part, it's important that you remember this. When the warp to the next area ends, you want to immediately jump. So I'll just first show what you have to do. You want to do a jump spin and land on this trampoline. There is a bit of leniency, so it's not that bad if you forget and you react a bit late. You can do a double jump instead of the single jump, but you do need to remember to do this. And if you don't remember, if you're just like, what do I need to do again? Oh, oops, shit, well done. If this happens, you can just warp back and try again. So it's no big deal, but it's just unnecessary time loss. So basically, just hold up left during the warp, and then do a jump spin when the warp ends. Oh, now we slam this button. Get the trampoline, get this spatula. And then we warp to plug up the volcano. And then we do the next the part in reverse. Doing jellyfish fields in reverse is completely overpowered. And now we warp to atop the fountain. And we just skip everything. And then we get this spatula and everything is just completely free, laid out in front of you. And that's all for jellyfish fields. So now we warp to Cannon Hall. And now it's time for some graveyard. We get a cruise boost off of this wall. Go over here. Get the sock. By the way, worth mentioning maybe is that you don't need to get any shinies anymore after Industrial Park. You only need to get shiny objects for the 2 levels that we do right before Industrial Park, and that's it. So no need to worry about shinies anymore. Anyway, the fastest place to cruise boost here is off of this pole. But especially as a beginner, it's not that easy of cruise boost, so if you're having trouble with that, you can cruise boost here instead. And then we go over here, we do a double jump spin, and then a double jump slam, and then we do a double jump spin, and we turn the camera and grab the spatula. Now if you fall here, it's no big deal, I'll just show what you can do if you fall. If you fall, you can warp to walk the plank. This is if you fall after grabbing the spatula, by the way. Then you can get rid of this robot and get a cruise boost over here. And then try it again. Or at least move on like this. Because after grabbing the spatula, you want to turn around and jump off here to get up here. Now this jump is kind of hard, I'm not gonna lie. Because if you miss, like the place you can stand on is kind of weird. So try to make sure that you're on this like vertex thingy, edge, whatever. Try to make sure that you land on there. And turning around is also kind of hard. If you're really struggling with this, let's see if you can just, I guess you can do this. It's not much easier probably, but it's something you can do. Or you can just warp to walk the plank. Get rid of this robot. And cruise boost. Just do it like this. Oh. Forgot about that. There's a cutscene trigger there, so that's also why, or at least part of the reason why we cut through here, is to not, because if you go to the right like this, you get a cutscene trigger, and especially if you have a cruise boost and you just fall off. I guess maybe you can make that, whatever. Anyways, moving on. Moving on. From here, probably a good idea to get rid of the father guy, but it's not necessary. The father guy kind of wants to hit you, kind of hard to avoid. Time to grab this spatula, fall into the goo, and drown. Spawn back up the platform. Now we can get a cruise boost off of here. Go up the trampoline. Get up here. Over here. And grab this. Oh! I did not want. Wait. I did not even know that could happen. I didn't even make a save state. Hold on. Did not know that that could happen if you have that camera angle. That's pretty interesting. Alright, so let's fast forward this. Okay, in that case, now that I learned that, the safest strat would be to just get rid of your cruise boost, so that can't happen. The fastest way to do this is to turn the camera, and then, yeah, basically that. That's all there is to it. Actually, maybe if you just turn the camera to the left, it can't happen. Okay, never mind. Immediately proven wrong. Very nice. Another thing you can do is bash, and then turn the camera during the bash. That's nice if you are having trouble turning the camera in time. But still, the safest way to grabbing the spatula would be to just get rid of your cruise boost. Either way, get the spatula. And now we're going to do another trick when we enter the graveyard ships, the graveyard of ships. We're going to do what's called disable on demand. So remember hand on demand, which requires you to select a Krusty Deluxe stage that you have not unlocked. In this case, by the way, that means that you can't select Jellyfish Jumble or Hole in Sponge, because you would just warp to that level, which you do not want to have happen, because that just wastes a bunch of time and you have to go back here. So select a level that you haven't unlocked, like Rooftop Rumble, and close the screen, and that makes Hans grab you. Now what you can do is, while you're closing the screen, when you close the screen, press R immediately after. You have 0.1 second of leniency, 6 frames to do that. So just unpause and press R. And what that does is it puts the hand on screen as you're entering this level. So if I now jump off of here, I can just walk here. Well, if I didn't do that, hold on, I don't have a save state. That's epic. Alright. Let me just get back there. So if I don't do that hand trick and then jump down here, I get grabbed by the hand. However, the hand trick here, putting hand on the screen as I'm warping to the next level, that basically disables the hand, so the hand doesn't even work anymore. And if I do the hand on the man trick, that also doesn't work anymore. So this just gets rid of the hand entirely, which we're going to use in this level and also in the next level. So yeah, that's why we do that. But basically, so as you're entering the graveyard of ships, just do the hand on the man trick and press R immediately after. Okay, now we're here. Now we're going to get a cruise boost off of here. This is a manual cruise boost, which means you have to detonate the cruise bubble manually instead of the ball just explodes it. Then we grab this spatula, and if you press R on the frame that you respawn, then the spatula animation doesn't play. But if you don't press R, then the spatula animation plays. On Dolphin and GameCube, there's a lot of leniency in pressing R, so this is pretty easy. You just press R when the screen goes black. But I think on Xbox it's pretty precise. And as you can hear, the sound still plays of SpongeBob laughing, so that's pretty cool. Now we get another manual cruise boost, and then we go to the right. And you can just slam, or bash and slam into here. And double jump, spin, get up to the spatula over here. And that's all for Graveyard, so almost done. Only one more level to go and then we go to the final boss. We now go to the Murmelair. Warp to Roll-A-Rama. Okay, for this first part of Murmelair there are a couple options. I'll first show you the lag clip, which only works if you're on Dolphin or GameCube, I think. Or if you're on Xbox on disc. However, if you're on Xbox on disc, it works differently. I'm not going to go over that. You can go to the Discord to ask for help if you really want to do that. I'm just going to go over how you do this on Dolphin. And yeah, for this you need to have a certain setting called no, not shit, what is it called? Hold up, I'll just look it up. Ah yes, enable dual core. You need to have dual core enabled for the lag clip to work on Dolphin. And on GameCube, I think it should just work. Anyway, if you're on another console, or if you're having trouble with this, I'll just show you the other methods of doing this first part of Murmelair, so don't worry. For this you need to get a slow cruise boost. So just a singular cruise boost. Walk off of here. Get into this corner. And I'll just show you what it looks like first. There we go. I got lucky. Let's go. And you just clip through the floor. Get this spatula. And then you leave to the next area. And that's all there is to it. So the way it works... well, I don't even know if I know the way this works. Gonna be completely honest. I don't know how this actually works. It has to do with lag and moving more in a singular frame. And the fact that holding a cruise missile like this gives you invincibility, which makes you able to go through objects. It's kind of weird. But what's important to know if you're doing this is if you just press L, then this can happen. And you can get the cruise missile to come out. But sometimes it doesn't. So I'm just pressing L now, and not every time the cruise missile comes out. But you need to hold L. So one way of making the cruise missile come out more consistently is tilting the camera as you do it, like that. So you need to tilt, then press L. That makes it a little bit more consistent. And for this you want to face in this direction, like straight into the wall. Not into this rock over here. Straight into the wall. Like this. And then you want to turn left. And you want to do a hard turn. You want to be fully committed to just do a hard turn left. And then sometimes you clip, sometimes you don't. Okay, I just got it 3 times in a row for some reason. Let's see if... ah, there we go. Now it just didn't work for some reason. As far as I know, it's just based on inconsistent things, whether it actually works or not. But the way I just described it, to face like straight into wall, face straight into the wall, and then do a full hard turn left. That's what has been working the most consistent for me. Okay, and now it just didn't work a couple times in a row, and that can happen in a run, and it kind of sucks. But, you know, sometimes that's just something that you have to deal with. Anyways, let's just go over a couple of alternative methods you can do. So if you're not on Dolphin, or if you don't hate yourself, then you can do some alternatives. You can get a cruise boost. Got it. You can get a cruise boost over here. Actually, fun fact, if the hammer starts hitting you, he can't actually hit, well, if you did it right, let me just show you. I think if you're just trying to get a cruise boost over here, then he actually doesn't hit you. So you don't need to worry about getting the... Okay, maybe you do. Anyways, you don't need to worry as much as I would have initially thought, at least. Just walked off, okay? Anyways, get a cruise boost, get over here. Get over here. This jump is kind of precise. You don't need to slam, you can do a spin instead. Okay, I just did a slam. Double jump, spin slam for this one. Jump down here. Actually, this requires the hand. So what you can do here, just hold up real quick. So remember that we disabled the out of bounds detection. If you go over here and just stand here, then the out of bounds detection comes back, and now it's enabled again. So now I can use the hand. Let me just get back over there. So now you can do a hand on command again. And you can do a ball boost. Let me just actually get it. There you go. And then you can just grab the spatula like this. Now, since this requires the hand to be enabled, if you want to do this, then you have to move Murmelair to before the Dutchman graveyard, which is no big deal. You can just do that. And then, yeah. You can do this strat instead of the lag clip. So obviously this isn't really easier because it's still a one frame. So let me just show you what you can do if you actually want to do something easy. If you actually want to do something easy, or I don't know why I got rid of my cruise boost. So you're here with the cruise boost and you can just... I think the best way of doing this would be to go over here. Bowl just Duplicatron. Let's see what's the best way of bowling this one. Stand here. Alright, that seems to work. Just stand on this line, do a full bowl. And then you can just bowl these tikis. Jump off. Okay, not... Wait, hold on. I should... Huh. Okay, maybe that also requires the hand to be enabled. So let me just do this with the hand enabled real quick. So that also requires... This strat also requires you to do this before graveyard then. Go. Tikis get grabbed by the hands, and that respawns the tikis. So you can just hit the tikis again and spawn the last bridge. And then you can just get a cruise boost over here. And get to the spatula. So that's the easiest way. And obviously, so the ball boost is like 20 seconds slower than the lag clip. And I don't know how much slower the easiest way I just showed is. But yeah. If you're really having trouble, then you can just do that. But the fastest way is to get the lag clip. So let me just get the lag clip one more time, because I don't think I had a save state there. Yep. So I'm just gonna have to do lag clip again, and then we can move on to the next part. And obviously it doesn't work. Didn't see that one coming. Funny trick. There we go. Alright. And now we just enter the main chamber. Alright, now we just get a cruise boost off of here. Get over here. And then you jump off this as it's rising. Get rid of your cruise boost. Grab the spatula. And then you warp back. Super jump, I guess. Yeah. Then you do cruise boost. Oh, oops. And you hit this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one, and then once there are 2 hammer bots remaining, what you want to do is you want to bowl one of them, so you get rid of your cruise boost. Get on the melon and then bowl the other. So yeah, and that makes the animations overlap again, which saves a little bit of time. So if you don't want to do that, it's also fine. It just saves a little bit of time. Finally, get this spatula, and then we leave. Warp to Patrick's super secret spatula. And we do another pad tube, and please, please, please remember to do the right order here, or else your run will soft lock right at the end, which is gonna be really unfortunate. So first buy from the menu, and then buy from Mr. Krabs. And then we enter the final boss. But before that, let me go over a couple of backup options that there are. So, backup options. Alright. If there is one spatula that you don't want to do, then this is one you can get instead. You warp to in the Crab's Claw. You move to the left here. And this is something you want to do after Dutchman's Graveyard, by the way, because you need to have the hand disabled for this. Oh, damn it. Oh, I actually got the let's go. Alright, anyways, this is pretty much casual. Just enter Sandy's Stream. And now in Sandy's Stream, you just want to jump back. And you want to land on the hazelnut over there. I think it's a hazelnut. It's a nut. Whatever. When I land on the nut. Oh, you can also land on this flower and then land on the nut. Get this spatula. So this is a backup option. I think if you don't want to do the 1 frame bowl boost in the rock bottom to get the chasm spatula with a huge button, this is a pretty good replacement to do instead of the backup movement that I showed. I think getting this spatula is faster. And if you need another backup spatula, you can then warp to flying squirrel in the clouds, I guess. You can get a cruise boost after the checkpoint. Jump down. And then you can do this fight, so you can get rid of this duplicated song, this one, and that one. And then you can get rid of the slick boss. Okay, and don't die. Then get this spatula. So this is another backup spatula you can get if you need to. If there are 2 spatulas that you're having trouble with. Let's see, backup socks. There should also be some pretty decent backup socks. Okay, this is a backup sock you can get if you warp to walk the plank. You can jump down here, get this sock. That's a pretty good backup sock. Let's see if there are more good backup socks. I think this is the fastest backup sock though. Another backup sock you can get is warp to across the rooftops. Walk over here. You can get this sock. This one's pretty decent, especially if you get it early. So if you get that spatula, you can just jump down here and then go over here. Hold on. Oh, you can just jump over here, never mind. And then the rest is as usual. Okay, I think those are all the backup options I wanted to show. So now we're just doing the final boss. Let's go. Alright, for this you just get over here. And then you want to get a cruise boost. And when you talk to Plankton here, press B as fast as you can. And then you jump over here. And you get rid of your cruise boost and you just jump on here. And then you land on the cage. Okay, this is kind of hard. But you want to spin Plankton and land a little bit behind it. And then you land over here. So you really need to get this down, like the place that you want to land on the trampoline, such that you land on the cage again. And if you mess it up, like this or something, if you get over. Also, if you go too far back, and you just don't make it on there, and then you go way back, what you can do as a backup, the fastest backup, is to get a slow cruise boost and get on top. But this requires you to then bowl away a cruise boost, which is kind of awkward. You can get on top of Plankton and then bowl away the cruise boost like that. And then make it back onto the cage. Anyway, the general gist of this is you hit Plankton, land behind him, and then turn around, hit Plankton, land behind him, turn around, hit Plankton, land behind him, and just repeat this over and over again. I think it's 10 times, something like that. That's actually a thing I should have gone over. There's one stage which is really annoying if you mess up. So let me see if I can do that. And you can also land on Plankton every time, then hit him and then land behind him. That's a bit safer, I guess. Or at least easier. Anyway, if you mess up this stage, and these... Okay, I guess, well, whatever. If you mess up the stage with the sleepy times, then you can't do the strat where you get a slow cruise boost and jump up there, because the sleepy times will hit you. So what you would have to do instead is you would have to go back here again, jump on here to get on the cage. You can also just do that in general if you mess it up. It might just be an easier backup. By the way I'm doing it right now, which is just, I literally just press up and jump at the same time, jump again, spin, and it just lands you perfectly. Sometimes you need to adjust just a tiny bit, so this definitely requires practice, but I think this is pretty doable to learn. Okay, so there I just messed up at the perfect time, because it was the last one, so it doesn't matter. Anyways, I think that's enough said. Let's go on to the final phase. So for this one, you just get a cruise boost. Hit the button. Okay, I just did that a bit weird. Let me just do that normally. Yeah, cruise boost. Hit the button. then get rid of all these robots. Wait for this fuse. Do not hit the fuse because we're gonna do a bit of a weird exploit. Because this level has checkpoints, believe it or not. And to implement the checkpoints, they have a counter which counts how many fuses you still need to hit. And if you were to die here and respawn here, then you're not going to hit that fuse again. So they have to adjust the fuse counter at these checkpoints. And we're just going to abuse that. So we're first going to go all the way over here. And the checkpoint over here sets the fuse counter at 4. So now we only need to hit 4 more fuses. But there are already 2 fuses that we just spawned by hitting robots. And there are 2 more fuses right at the top. So we're just going to hit those 4 fuses now and then we're done. And we don't need to hit all the fuses actually. And the way we do this is we just hit this Duplicatotron, wait for him to hit us, and then start missiling. And that gives us invincibility. So if the robots now shoot at us, then we still don't. We can still continue with hitting these fuses. Now we just jump down, hit this fuse, and hit the final fuse with a cruise missile. And that's it. Oh, I forgot to split. You split when the last fuse breaks. So officially the time ends on the frame that the fuse is no longer there, I guess. And yeah, I think that's all there is to it. So I hope that this has helped, and I hope that the links in the description help. If you need any more help, then make sure to go to the Discord. And yeah, I think that's all I wanted to say. So thanks for watching.